Welcome in everybody to this week's edition of Valpo Football Weekly, brought to you by our friends at Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute. Brandon Vickery with you. Glad to be joined by the head coach of the Valpo football program, Landon Fox, as we take a look back at Saturday's game against St. Thomas and eventually look ahead to this week's game at Marist. And let's start with Saturday. You've had a chance to look at the film. So just in general, as you look back at that film, what stood out most as maybe areas you need to improve going forward?
Yeah, for me, it's carrying over practice into games. And so, there's things that you're going to practice and the details in which you're practicing them, and those got to carry over to the game. And if you watch it, you give credit to St. Thomas, they executed at a higher level than us. And to me, and one thing that's a little bit disappointing, I think they may have even played harder than us. And, those are things that we talk about all the times that we, core value is effort. You can control that and to give really great effort, and then to be able to execute at a high level. They did that and we didn't, and that's indicative of the score.
St. Thomas had 8 sacks in the game. What do you want to do better in that area going forward?
Again, it's a lack of concentration in practice. And so there were certain looks, they did a nice job. It was an overload protection and 4-man to a side, and something that was shown to the guys during the week. And I'm not placing blame. We have to coach better if they don't understand it. However, we do need to do a great job as a whole of making sure, hey, this practice is important because, practice execution is game reality. That's how it works. And, there's a couple of sacks at the end of the game that St. Thomas got that was just a result in lack of execution in terms of, hey, it's an overload blitz. We have to, do a certain thing to protect this overload. And we didn't get it done. And so in order for us to have success, what happens on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is gonna play a huge part into what happens on Saturday. And so that was the message. That was the message to the guys yesterday as we evaluated the film and then what we need to do to move forward. Because we told them. I mean, we're excited about the opportunity to have a winning season and one in which that has maybe only one in the last 20 years. Now, take that away, stop thinking about that, and let's just worry about what we can do today to make that happen on Saturday.
Let's talk about the elements from Saturday a little bit. Extremely windy conditions. I mean, what factor did that play, or how did you adapt things, if at all, to the windy conditions?
I would say this to you, that probably played into their hands. They're a big physical running team. That being said, we knew it throughout the week. So that was something we talked about, that in the running game, if we can make it a push, that they get 120, we're at 150, then we're going to have a good opportunity to win the game. And we didn't do that. I mean, it wasn't even close. It was 222 to 58. And so we knew that going in. And the reality is this: that it's football. And so you're gonna during the season, you're gonna play in rain, you're gonna play in wind, you're gonna play in snow. So you have to have the ability to adjust your game plan to allow yourself to have success.
One of the bright spots over the last couple of weeks is starting to force turnovers. You had 6 total over the first 7 games. Now you forced 6 turnovers over the last 2 weeks. How have things turned around as far as the takeaways defensively?
Yeah, I do liken it to shooting a basketball. Like the more you miss, the next one's more likely to go in. So I do believe that shoot or shoot. So you just keep playing, and you knew that was going to change at some point. But the way that you do get turnovers is being in the right spot. And so I think that's the key message for the players, is that the play doesn't care who makes it. You just need to be in that position when it calls your name. And so it could be play number 78 of 80, and you have to be ready to make the play. And that's the message to the guys, is just do your 111, do your job. And when the play comes to you, make it.
Jake Birmingham, 11 tackles on Saturday. From my perspective, kind of out of the blue. What can you tell us about him, and what led to him being out there, or you trusting him out there so much, in his big day on Saturday?
Yeah, he's a guy that it's very important to. And to me, that's the message, that we want to communicate to the players, that, it needs to be very important. You have to put a lot of time and effort into it in order to be successful. So he's going to do that. And if that's through film study, if that's through intentional practice, whatever it may be, he's willing to do that. And he's a, kind of old school, physical, tough, guy in terms of a player. And so by no means necessarily a surprise to us but when he did get his opportunity and his number was called, he was ready to go.
Let's look ahead to this week. What stands out to you about Marist? What do you have to do to be successful against them on Saturday?
Yeah, I would say typical Mariners team, just, very athletic on both sides of the ball. Back seven on defense, extremely athletic. And then you can say that the same thing at the skill players on the offensive side of the ball. So, which that athleticism then carries over to their special teams units. And so, which is going to be a huge factor in the game. So, the one thing that we're going to have to do from a defensive perspective, we're going to have to eliminate, explosive plays. So when you and I talk on next Monday, if we do that, we're going to have a really good opportunity to win the game. If we don't, it's going to be a dogfight. And so we have to eliminate them on offense. Offensively, you're going to have to find a way to handle their the 3-5-3, their stack defense, which is a little unique, I guess, maybe similar to what St. Thomas did. And they'll bring pressure, so you're going to have to be able to handle that. And then, like I said, be very, very good in the kicking game.
There he is, the head coach of the Valpo football program, Landon Fox. Again, it's Valpo and Marist, final road game of the season this Saturday. The game starts at 11 a.m. Central Time out in New York, and you can watch it on ESPN+. We'll talk to you again next week on Valpo Football Weekly, and it's brought to you by our friends at Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute.